Welcome to Mind Your Mental Health, a podcast series brought to you by Concern Employee Assistance Program, a part of the Atlantic Behavioral Health Service Line. My name is Nick Carter. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and the coordinator of Concern. And I'm here with
Sharon Kelly, licensed clinical social worker and clinician with Concern as well. So this month's podcast topic is the ripple effect of suicide. You know, when someone takes their life by suicide, it leaves a deep impact on those left behind. It impacts our family, our friends, our coworkers, and even the communities in which we live. You know, Nick, when we may never actually know the extent of the ripple effect caused by suicide, and sadly, most of us don't even want to talk about this.
Yeah, you're right. In spite of the fact that 47,000 people die by suicide, making it the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, still this is a topic that we're just not comfortable with.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Can you mention, Nick, some of the initiatives that are being spearheaded by Atlantic Behavioral Health to address this?
Yeah. 2 years ago, Atlantic Behavioral Health began a commitment to the No More Whispers campaign, and then this year to the Zero Suicide Initiative.
Could you tell everybody the difference between these two initiatives?
The No More Whispers campaign encourages us all to get comfortable with discussing mental health problems such as depression, anxiety, and substance abuse. The Zero Suicide is a system-wide endeavor to educate the entire Atlantic health community about the prevention of death by suicide.
Not exactly light topics, but serious and important initiatives. You know, people have the hardest time knowing what to say when they are worried about a loved one, or even a colleague who appears to be struggling, maybe depressed, or maybe even at risk for suicide. I'm wondering if maybe this podcast we could be talking a little bit about what do people say? What can they do?
Yeah, sure, that's a good idea. A few weeks ago, a supervisor called expressing her concern about a team member of hers who was just not herself. And she described her as being less talkative, isolating, and lacking her usual energy and enthusiasm for work. And the supervisor did a great job, I thought, of identifying the changes in her behavior. And I encouraged her to simply have the conversation and encourage her to use the employee assistance benefit.
That's a great story. It makes me think of a time I had a couple come to see me at Concern because they found a very frightening letter in their teenager's room. They were scared and just so uncertain about what to do. And, they came to Concern, they got some help, and it was a really happy ending. Nick, this might be a good time to share with our listeners some ideas for what to say and how to help when there is a concern about suicide. I know one of the things people often ask me is, if I say something about suicide, won't I be planting the idea in their head? Maybe we could speak about this fear.
Yeah, that's a common worry, but you know what? It's really not true. Simply asking someone who's in distress can be the thing that really helps them to reset and pause a bit, and then ultimately get the help that they need.
Maybe we could give the listeners some, go-to phrases or questions they could use.
Sure. If you see someone who you think is not doing well, not themselves, simply ask, "Hey, are you okay? How are you doing? You just don't seem yourself." Or you could try using the QPR.
Okay, Nick, so what's QPR? What is that?
Well, just like life resuscitation CPR, QPR is questions, that is, ask the question, have the conversation, are you okay? And then P for persuade, encourage the person to get some help. And then R for refer, knowing the referral and where to send them to get the help that they need.
QPR, actually, that sounds pretty manageable. Hey, Nick, want to do something fun?
Sure.
Want to role play 2 employees with me?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, go ahead. You start.
Sharon, are you doing okay? You just don't seem yourself.
Well, I'm all right. I just have a lot going on.
Well, I have some time. Do you want to talk about it?
Well, I guess. I'm not sleeping. Everything feels pretty overwhelming right now. Sometimes, you know what? I just feel like I might as well just give up.
I'm not really qualified to be a counselor, but maybe together we can find you the help and find someone who really is, and they could help you. Would that be okay?
I'm not sure what will help, but all right. I don't know that we're going to get an Emmy Award for that, but I think it helps people to hear just a little bit about what it might sound like to step up and have that conversation with someone you might be worried about.
And you know what else, Sharon? The only thing that people really need to remember is to have a resource ready at their fingertips.
Right. They could suggest, or they could help them call Concern. That's your Employees Assistance Program, so we always want to remind people about that. Or they could give people a 24-hour hotline. Call that 1-800-273-TALK, or even get them to the emergency room if it's that serious.
Yeah, those are good ideas.
Nick, why don't you tell everybody about what Concern is doing this month to address this issue of suicide?
Yeah, September is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and Behavioral Health is presenting the movie Ripple Effect, which is a documentary of Kevin Hines, who at age 19 attempted to take his life by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
That sounds terrible.
He speaks about his work as a mental health advocate now and the tremendous impact that can be made by just a few people saying the right thing at the right time. Behavioral Health is going to have informational tables throughout all of the hospital sites, and at the tables we will have memory stones.
It's a lovely idea.
Yeah, these stones would be something that a person could write the memory of or the name of a person that is near and dear to them that has taken their life by suicide, and we can take this rock and put it in one of our memory gardens, or they can take it home and put it in their garden if they wish.
Sounds like a really comprehensive way to help people start the conversation, get some information and some resources.
Yeah, at the tables there will be educational information for people about prevention of suicide.
So we want to really encourage people to try to get to one of the viewings of this movie because it's pretty impactful.
The schedule can be found on the intranet in a number of places on the Concern website as well as the Behavioral Health website.
That's right. Well, Nick, I think we've kind of covered the topic for today. And what's going to be happening next month? Do we remember? I think next month is...
I think it's Knockout
Opioids.
Opioids.
That's right.
Can't say that.
We're going to knock out opioids. So stay tuned, and thanks for listening to our Mind Your Mental Health podcast. And I'm Sharon Kelly signing off.
Nick Carter, thank you very much for listening.